Hello, my name's Julia. Welcome and thank you very much for taking the time to watch my little video. I'd like today to tell you a little bit about myself, my history, what I do, the types of work that I do and produce, and how I produce them. So firstly, I am based in North Wales. I have a lovely studio here, which I don't know if you can see behind me, has superb views. On a very good day I can see as far as the Lake District and the Isle of Man, but today unfortunately is not the best day in the world. I first studied art in South Africa, having moved there. I returned back to England a couple of years later, just in time for O and A levels, and then proceeded through education to end up doing a HND, not in sculpture because I couldn't find the sort of course that I wanted to do, but in art and production and design. I specialised in illustration, and that was a very good and interesting career. It took me all around the world. And in fact, I suppose it even took my work up to the stars, because I have, luckily enough, had some of my work go up to the International Space Station. So at some stage in the future, if anyone's interested, they can email me and I'll tell them all about that. However, it doesn't relate very much to sculpting, which is what we're talking about today. So Agama Creative, which is my company name, specialises in something called copper fumed raku. I have done ceramics in the past. I took an A level in it, but other than that I am mostly self-trained. About 4.5 years ago I was at a show, the Popfest show in Scotland. At this show I saw a lovely lady, very good artist, called Pat Armstrong, who specialised in copper fuming on pots, and this was a total eureka moment for me. I saw that, thought, that's it, that's exactly the type of finish I want on my sculptures. And so myself and another potter there who had some raku kilns tried to create this beautiful copper fuming, and ended up with something that was very muddy and brown and uninspiring. So he took it back to this lady and said, you know, what have we done wrong? How do we get these fantastic colours that you've got? Whereupon she smiled and just said, try firing it again, try again. However, not deterred, I was totally hooked, and it took me about 2.5 years of experimenting to finally start getting the colours that are synonymous with copper fuming. I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a while. And during this process, while I was actually trying to discover this technique and get this technique to work, and I'd started getting colours on the smaller pieces but never on the very large ones, I thought, well, it's you know, I've almost got there, I'm close to it, let's go and see some of the other potters who are doing this copper fuming on sculptures and ask for some advice. So big couple of weeks trawling through the internet, and I couldn't find anybody. I then found out that, as far as I can ascertain, I am the only person in most of Europe or America who has actually managed to do good and decent copper fuming on sculptural pieces, and certainly on the larger sculptural pieces. So enough about that. I will tell you a little bit about it. Copper fuming is a form of raku, so it's a low-fired process. I will make a sculpture. The clays you use have to be specifically strong because they have to go through a lot of what's known as thermal shock in the raku process, i.e. they're heated very, very fast in about half an hour, as opposed to sort of 24 hours as a normal firing would take. Then they are put into what's known as a reduction chamber, where they are flamed and reduced. That means all the oxygen's taken out, so the flames and the burnt material in that process sucks the oxygen out, and that's what actually produces the colours. I'll go a bit more into depth with it. Having managed to say, it took me about 10 years to get my sculpting style up, bearing in mind that I thought, oh, clay, what a wonderful material and medium to use. Why isn't anybody using it to make these beautiful, long moving, long legged creatures? And when I started trying to do that, I did realise that making long skinny legs on ceramic pieces isn't quite commonly used, because it's actually extremely hard to do. However, as I say, using special clays, I've managed to get past that problem. They are quite robust, but they are obviously a earthenware rather than a stoneware sculpture. So when we get to the copper fuming, that is done with a glaze, a very, very high percentage of copper oxide. Then they're fired in the raku kiln. They will have obviously previously been fired to what's known as bisque, which normally is about 1,200. I fire to 1,020, pardon me, not 1,200. Then the piece is fired in a raku kiln. This takes about between 30 minutes and an hour. It is then taken out of the raku kiln with a pair of tongs, glowingly red hot, and put in the reduction chamber. And it's normally put onto sawdust. So if I get this chappy here and see if I can write, I don't know if you'll be able to see, I'll close it up. But here at the base you can see where he stood in the sawdust. So you've got these little speckly colours, and that's the sawdust. I shall see if I can turn him around. And there, so you can see there's a line. So under that line on his hoof there and the speckled colours, that's where it actually went in to the sawdust. The other colours that you get are these beautiful blues and all this colour running up here. That's where the flames hit it. So it'll be burning quite merrily, you'll see later in the video. And all this colour is where the flames have washed over it. However, at this stage it's still just black as far as you can see. You might see a little bit of flickering of colour, but nothing that you will hold. The reason on this shire that his back, you can see here we've got lovely sort of turquoise colouring coming onto his back. Just before I shut the reduction chamber down, I will throw on some more sawdust. I use a mixture of sawdust and shredded paper, and I'll brush it off, but that's just where the sawdust landed on him before it was brushed off. You then close it off, whatever's smouldering sucks the oxygen out, and you leave it for a length of time, possibly letting a little bit of air in occasionally. That's called burping, lovely phrase. And finally, when you think you might have colours, and this, as I say, it's a weird process. It took me 2.5 years to sort of guess, and I would still only say I have a 45–50% success rate. But you get yourself a water diffuser. I'll have the other side, so you can get a bit of pressure, get that ready, open the lid to your reduction chamber and spray really fast. Hopefully you'll catch the colours. The water going onto the piece sets the colour. Too late and it'll go back to muddy browns or black. So it's quite an intricate and vastly entertaining process, and certainly when you do get a piece that comes out as nicely as this one, I can quite often be seen doing the dance of the happy potter around the garden. I do hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed that little idea of how to do copper fuming. I shall put a little video up now of the process. Hope you enjoy that, and then I shall go on to tell you of another style of sculptures that I do, the other side to my business at the moment, which are the dragons. So enjoy, and I'll be back soon. Hope you enjoyed that little clip of copper fuming and me playing with fire, beginning of summer and lockdown. It was quite good fun. The other thing that we produce at Agama Creative are dragon chimeneas. This one has been in the garden. I've just gone and brought him in. He's my dragon. He's my chimenea, my personal one of the first that I made. They are ceramic, so they do need to come in for the winter. They don't like being left outside. I don't sell these ready-made. I will only do them as commissions, but I will put a video up. The reason these are commissions are because they need to be your dragons. If they're going to come and live with you, they need to be the dragon that you particularly want. As I say, this one's mine, and he was based on, I have actually got quite a few of them, I've got about 4, but he was based on Drogo from the very well-known hit television series. But as I say, if you do decide you'd like to get a chimenea, They do flame. I will put up a little video about them, and you will be able to decide what sort of dragon you would like, you know, what sort of face and head and colours and wings, etc. So I will round it up with that. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this little film, and I hope that you like and would like to purchase some of my things. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.